Om Shanti. A wonderful time we are going to have with Brother Charlie Hogg. Uh, he's associated with Brahma Kumaris for 5 decades and he's taking care of the services of Brahma Kumaris out Australia there. Welcome, brother, for the show.
Thanks so much, Sivarama.
Om Shanti. We are very happy to have you here and we'll have a healthy discussion about few spiritual principles which you took and carried in your life. So, brother, before we go into questions, can you say what inspired you in this lifestyle?
Thank you so much, brother. Nice to meet you. Maybe I can just share that I grew up in Melbourne, in Australia. I was always a seeker of things. I was always interested. And I went to Melbourne University. I was studying architecture there. But this search was really strong. So I took time and I just traveled the world for a few years. But it was a great education for me because I lived with Buddhists and Christians and Muslims and Hindus and Taoists and I went from really Singapore right overland through India, through the Middle East, Africa, Europe. I settled in Europe.
Oh,
And when I was in London, I came in touch with the Brahma Kumaris. And quite frankly, when I was traveling, the criteria for me was I loved what I heard, but how do you experience? How do you convert theory into a feeling inside? And it was when I started with the Brahma Kumaris in London, I was living in London, that they really taught me to convert what I know into what I feel. In a sense, that's meditation for me, that you unpack a truth so that you feel it inside. And that's when it's really stimulating.
what year was that?
1975.
Oh,
I was only 22 years old.
that was amazing. Thank you, brother. How do you define the power of transformation? Because today people want to change. People know why to change. They know the advantage of changing, but they're not able to change.
Yeah.
So here in spirituality, we can understand, like we get the power of transformation. So how do you define it?
I mean, transformation for me is going from where I am to where I really want to be, because everyone has a dream in their heart. But I would say it's stepping back into my self-value or my self-respect. Because what I've learned in this world, traveling everywhere, meeting so many people, we have confidence. We have the confidence to run companies, pass exams, do this sort of thing. It doesn't mean I really like who I am. And I would say self-transformation is really healing the relationship with the self. The first relationship in life is with the self. And if that relationship is not healthy, it pollutes each part of my life. And so what I've learned here is to step by step really not just know and believe, but experience really who I am. And the greatest gift I've found is the gift of self-value, so that in any situation with any company you're with, your sense of self doesn't fluctuate.
Good.
And to me, as much as you have self-respect, you can respect others.
Good.
And as much as you have self-respect, you will be humble. It's an expression of self-respect. And as much as you have self-respect, you will be loving and people will love. And to me, that's the beauty of transformation. It's like stepping back into my own sense of stable self-value.
Amazing, brother. Thanks a lot. Another question. Why do you meditate?
Well, I can remember when I was traveling, I tried quite a few types of meditation. And, I had a good education, very good. And but when I began to meditate, I realized I had no control over my mind. And it's amazing, isn't it? I feel in a way we're so educated about the world out there and so uneducated. And we all know that the thoughts can go in all sorts of directions. And I really became fascinated how to, not with force and control, but with love and truth, really learn about the sort of person I was. And that's meditation. And I love meditation. And I start every day, and I've done it for nearly 50 years now, and I wouldn't leave it for anything.
the question comes once again from there, like 50 years before you started meditation. Now, after 50 years, you still meditate. What is the difference you find from then and there?
I would say, what I've learned at the beginning, the idea of the self was a theory. It was a belief. 80% of the world believe that they're a soul or a spirit or the consciousness. But I knew that. But at the beginning, it was a theory. Now I really, really feel I can use my thoughts to really experience who I am and have a real sense of loving relationship with God, not just a prayerful belief in some higher power, but a natural living relationship. And I personally like a natural spirituality, not a sort of a religious spirituality, like just devotion. I respect it. But for me, I wanted spirituality to be a part of my life, like who I am as a person, how I work with people, etc.
Amazing. Where you spoke about religion and spirituality, how do you differentiate between religion and spirituality, brother? Where people find both one and the same, but it is different.
It is. I think it's very different. But maybe everyone has their own definitions. But for me, religion is like a package, a whole package of beliefs and rituals, and it's okay. I don't want to sound like I'm condescending in any way, because it gives so much love and support for people. But to me, spirituality is a dynamic, internal life of self-realization and self-transformation. It's like you're really not just having a belief in God, but you're using your relationship with God to really learn about life, transform yourself, transform relationships, and hopefully make the world a much better place.
Thank you. Why do you choose being a vegetarian? Was it very difficult for you to adapt this lifestyle? And what is the advantage you find? Because for 50 years, you are practicing and promoting being vegetarian. What is that advantage you find?
I was a vegetarian before I began this.
Okay.
And it just felt completely natural to me. I mean, when I grew up, my family used to eat a little bit of meat, but I never liked it. But as the day I moved and traveled the world, I became a vegetarian. It just feels natural to me. And like where I live in Australia, you would not believe the vegan movement, even not only vegetarian, is absolutely huge. Huge number of the population. All the restaurants have changed to vegans. And so there's some amazing shift happening in the world. And it's for a lot of people, it's health reasons, but for me, it's spiritual. So.
Okay. So what do you do for your self-care daily?
Well, I wake up every morning early and I sit quietly, really quietly, and really become completely detached from my body. Just sort of step back into my true self, my eternal self, my permanent self. And I find the more I can step back, the whole inner world cools down. And I literally sit in front of God like a child and allow myself to be completely loved. Because nothing will make me feel healthier than when a purity of love you'll get from nowhere else. And I find that love just settles my inner world so deeply and gives me sort of a gentle power to deal with anything, face anything. And that's how I begin the day. And, I've been doing it for a long time now, and I really try to maintain the awareness as much as possible, because I like the idea that we live in this world, but we carry our spirituality. We don't withdraw from life. So there's always challenges in applying what we learn, but that's how we grow as a person. And that's what a real spiritual life is about.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, dear brother. It was a lot of experience filled with God's love, seeing God's magic in action, and seeing God's power manifested through human form. Thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you, brother. Lovely to be with you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.